Hello, welcome once again to Just Keep Going, Just Keep It Going with Irene. I started off by sharing my journey, and it's been an interesting one. Just being able to share my story and just looking at how far I have come. I didn't think it's been that much of a journey, but I remember the struggle and I remember the intensity of the fear, and that's what I wanted to probably give you a bigger glimpse into. What did that feel like? Because one of the things I realized with mental issues, the stigmatization around I realized there's a lot of stigmatization around mental health, and I'm hoping that you will be able to maybe see the signs, see the triggers, and be able to just action it. I am not a mental health expert. I am just somebody who's gone through my own journey and just learned a few things here and there. I have friends who are experts in that area, but nothing beats experience and coming out. And that's one of the ways to learn. The other way, of course, is observation and everything. However, looking back, I realized there were signs, and I'm hoping that I could just maybe give you a glimpse, one or two or three, that you can observe in the people around you, in your children, more so, in your spouse. Especially for me, it was just the children, the being young, yeah. One of the things that I went through was withdrawal and just a lack of joy and a lethargy towards life. And then there was just that whole process of what am I doing? What am I thinking? I became an overthinker, an avid overthinker. One of the things you can do is just explore different things. Don't shy away from exploring thoughts and patterns and things like that. I almost wish every parent was emotionally intelligent. I think for me, for you to be able to pick mental health issues, you also have to be a very emotionally intelligent person. And that doesn't mean you're perfect, it just means you're aware. You're aware when you see some certain patterns, you can pick and go like, this person is not talking as much as they used to, this person is closing themselves off, they're staying in their room the whole day, they're not engaging in any social activities, they're not sleeping. Sleeping is big, and I remember I never used to sleep much. And then talking to myself, maybe it was not very, I didn't get to a point of complete mental breakdown, but for those of my friends who've gone through that, you get to a point where you become incoherent, and that's because your thoughts are overwhelming. I remember going for a lot of CBT, a lot of cognitive behavioral therapy, and talk therapy was it. It was one of the biggest helpers, and just being able to talk through your emotions, talk through your feelings. If you're not the right person for them, get them to a space where they can be themselves and they can discuss whatever it is they're going through. There's always a trigger. And I assure you, at times, being unable to process emotions and feelings is usually the biggest cause. You're so overwhelmed by this sense of rejection, by this sense of disappointment, and the internal pressure is killing you. By the more often than not, you find you've pushed yourself, you're a high achiever, you know this should be going right, but then it's going wrong. You're wondering why, you're stuck, your mind is reeling, why is this happening to me? And then you get entangled. There you can take yarn and it's entangled, and suddenly they can't come out. And that's why people need help. Not everybody has that ability. And overthinking is big. It's one of the biggest, for me, it's the one thing that got me to that point of almost no return, because internally I'm speaking to myself in a certain way that I shouldn't, or just going back into myself. So one of the things also I remember learning is how to stop some thoughts, and they just would blank them out, and I'd say, I'm not thinking about this anymore. And that would kill the process. I would kill the overthinking, and I'd distract my mind, and I'd go like, I'll force my mind to focus on something else. And when they say as a man thinketh so is he, that is so true. Your thought processes, what are you, your internal self-talk, what does that sound like? Being able to stop and ask yourself, what is this I'm doing? So those are some of the things that I learned along the way, and I'm hoping that as you get through life, through the disappointments of life, through the joys of life, you will not allow your emotions to carry you to a point of no return. And then you realize, just hold life so very loosely. Things happen around you, to you, but it is what happens in you that makes the biggest difference. So you are your own cheerleader, you are your own helper more often than not, and God also sends us help. So may you be helped.